people. I wanted to share with you the story of shame. And as I say that, my solar plexus, my diaphragm is pulling into clenching mode, because shame is so deeply instilled in us as a supposed guidance radar to help us do the right thing. If you are shamed into believing that the choices, the feelings, the experiences that you have, the words that you express are wrong and bad, shame holds you in a place of judgment. Basically, you're judged. If you do not do things according to other people, at the moment globally we've got this huge big backlash about privilege, about white privilege, about enslavement, and I do think enslavement goes on. I do not like the story of slaves being carted from one place to the other. You know, I was born in Africa, I grew up with the African history. I also know that a lot of Indians have been enslaved. A lot of people globally have been enslaved by tribes for centuries. And so I have full compassion for people who are lost in the trauma of enslavement. But to enslave people with shame is something I have always found grates on me. As a child, shame was something that was showered upon me in many ways. And yet there was a voice inside of me that always guided me to confront the shame. I've had an experience recently where people were heaping shame on me, and I've had a shame all my life, as I said, but the recent experience really brought up all the deepest pain around shame to the surface. And when things like this come up, when the things go bump in the night, our first reaction from our ego mind, our survival self, is that I need to fight back. I need to put my defenses up. I need to fight back. I need to stand my ground. And so for the last sort of 2 weeks, I have been on a roller coaster of trying to stand my ground and defend myself. And, you know, when I feel disempowered, the inner child in me wants to anchor in support, love and protection from other people. And that inner child in me will then create and react from a story of vulnerability, will react in a way to sort of garner support, love and protection from others. Traditionally, how this manifests out there, how this actually shows up out there, is that we turn to gossip, we turn to sharing our version of the story or the experience, and we garner support for our version of the story and experience. And in garnering that support and experience from others, alliance and loyalty from others, we disempower ourselves, because we then place the power in others to keep ourselves safe. We place the power in the opinions, the love, the affection, the obligation of others to keep us protected. And shame is very much one of those tools that are used to punish, reprimand people that we believe have stepped out of line. And a lot of the times we believe that anybody who steps out of line is creating something against us, is creating a dynamic or a flow against us, and we move into shame. Might be because we feel that we're not good enough, or that doggy. Sorry guys, I had to break a bit suddenly there because a beautiful Podenco dog ran out of a fantastic restaurant and across the road. I just managed to break in time. Thank God for breaks. Thank God for the fact that I could see him. Watching out for the people and the things that we love and adore is one of those things that we often forget to do. Garnering support from others is we look to others to feel empowered enough so we can protect the beauty within us, so that we can place the beauty within us, the innocence within us, in a safety zone where nothing can attack and overtake. I have just spent an hour and a bit with some amazing people around me. Unexpected, universal gifts that lifted me up. The more I speak my truth, the more this gift gives me, and I'm so pleased about that. Oh, my diaphragm solar plexus is really responding to this truth, and I'm grateful. So shame is used to police us. Shame is used to keep us in line. It's used to punish us if people think you've stepped out of line. And the fact that we allow punishment from outside, it's almost like we convince ourselves that if I'm different to somebody, if I have a different opinion, different experience, different alignment, different frequencies, I'm open to being punished, criticized. In Spanish they say castigated by others. I leave that judgment outside of me. And it brings to mind a beautiful story of North American Indian tribes, or possibly one particular one. I haven't researched it specifically, but I've read this a few times. And it's about if somebody in the tribe steps into immoral or unhelpful behavior within the tribe, something that affects the joy, the well-being of others, instead of creating a court to find a way to punish them and hold them responsible and put them separate to the tribe, they put this person in the middle of a circle of loving tribe members. They put this person who has created this disharmony in the center of a circle, and the intention of the center of the circle is to radiate and pour love into this being and ask them to bring back the part of their soul that has distended itself, that has separated itself from its own truth. And some of you who are familiar with shamanic treatments or practices will be aware of a therapy called soul retrieval. And that journey itself that I've just described, about putting somebody in the center of a circle and radiating love and allowing them to tell their story and help them align back to the part of their soul that has disconnected, is very much a practice to not put that soul into shame, but a practice to give that soul a chance to realign to their truth, to realign to their holy truth. And so in this way, this holiness that we try to embody in life, it becomes torn from us when we hold ourselves, others, and when others hold us in shame. Shame does not benefit any of us. Shame creates division, separations, conflict. And shame tells a story that you are guilty of not being a whole person. You are guilty of not being a respectful person. You're guilty of being an immoral person because you may have made a mistake or you have chosen unwisely. When the tribe that I described earlier put people in the center of the circle, their gift of love, and I believe it was accompanied by toning or singing, the gift of love is to bring the right frequency back to the individual so they can reharmonize with their truth, which is not about living from their shadow, which is not about living from their fears and their disconnection from that. So I'm sharing this story because in the last couple of weeks, as I said, I have been awash with shame, but my shame has been with me since I was a tiny child. And I just met a lovely, lovely lady who's gone through a lot of shame and a lot of narcissistic abuse, who is recovering and teaching others how to recover beyond narcissism and shame. And she sort of mentioned something about shame in our conversation. And I had this really proud moment of realizing that I've been working with it for a number of years, thanks to the support of my tribe, my people that align with me, that highlight when I am not being whole, when I am splitting myself, when I'm losing parts of myself, or where I have lost part of myself and not recovered them. That this story of shame is perpetuating so much pain and split from myself. So recently I had this attack of shame from people that don't know me, that feel very justified in shaming me. And holy of holies, as I stood my ground and I let this shame wash through me as a healing balm. It highlighted where I was giving my power away. And the place where I was giving my power away was where I held the shame, where I criticized myself, where I demeaned my worth, where I held myself down, basically suffocating the flow of spirit. So in watching the dramas, not engaging with it fully, just watching how I responded, how I reacted, and holding myself responsible for choosing how I responded to it, I came back to an awareness of, what a sigh of relief. I am dealing with shame. I'm dealing with narcissism. I'm dealing with people who are lost in their fears and feel so justified in their truth that they do not have the patience to offer space to somebody else whose truth is different to theirs. When we stay in that justified place where my truth is better than yours, my truth is the only truth, and your truth has no space in this world, we are creating battles and wars. We are creating conflicts where none need to exist. So I want you to take away from just this short chapter, where are you holding yourself in shame? For me, it became so apparent, the pain of shame of where I was holding myself in pain and criticism and judgment and negating what I was worth, that it took multiple attacks from outside of me to bring down the defensive wall that I had created to stop myself hurting from the shame, which actually was having a counter effect. The wall that I had built up to protect myself against shame was actually keeping the shame in and not letting the shame out. So these people who openly and globally attacked me served a great purpose. They helped me come back to me and realize I was shaming myself more than they ever could. And the healing in that moment, liberating myself, cleared years of anguish about my self-worth. I'm not saying I'm completely out of it, but that moment of understanding helped me realize that I keep myself down. I keep myself in the shadows so I won't disrupt and upset other people's sensibilities, the people that shout and scream the loudest, that really aren't actually doing the Spirit's work, but spouting as though they're doing the Spirit's work. The ones that are shouting the loudest from the tower, that they are actually more spiritual, that they are actually more aligned, that there is only one truth and it is their truth. And that always brings me back to certain religion and religious adjutants who always feel that their religion is the only religion. Their way of living is the only truth, and nobody else has a truth, and nobody else is aligned to spirit, and nobody else is pure. I have news for you all. We're all not just pure. We are pure and we are impure. And if the impure didn't exist, we in the purity wouldn't know we existed, which is why we incarnate as humans. I had not realized how passionately I feel about shame, how passionately I feel that all of us need to come back to our truth and mind our own business, in inverted commas. Minding our own business is not to go out and criticize others, but to listen to ourselves and notice where we are actually bringing ourselves down to our knees, disempowering ourselves, where we might be looking for others to protect and keep us secure, when actually what we need to do is stand our ground and go, I'm aligned to this truth, and I can see that you have another truth and I respect it. I am not bringing a battle to our separate and distinct opinions and ways of living life. Caroline Myss is an amazing teacher who talks a little bit about this. Of course, we know Brené Brown talks about it, but Caroline Myss comes at it from the shame that we hold in our chakras, the shame that we carry the inherited stories forward with. If you're interested and want to know more about it, then do subscribe to this. I will be sharing more and more information about this. I really want you to understand, as long as we give shame the power, we are disempowering ourselves. And that is all I want to say at the moment. There will be more coming, but I wanted to share that because of what's just happened. And there are some gifts that I've just been given today, and I'm so grateful to Spirit for those. I'm grateful that I am mindful enough to be present and take on board these truths. I love you all. Have a blessed day. We will connect soon. Namaste.